Hello. Sound check. This is Michael Palisak in a deep voice. Sound checking the episode while it has already started. Sound check. This is sound. Hi everybody. This is episode 44. Welcome to episode 44 of the podcast. I just got my kid to sleep, which is very accurate tonight. Well, I fell asleep first. I think I've noticed that I've noticed that for him to go to sleep, I've got to go to sleep. It's like he thinks that I'm just waiting there to go live my life and live out my other dreams and pursue my other passions, and he's got to make sure that I'm out first. And he's accurate. But I get a little nap in, and then I leave, and it's very makes no sense sometimes. Like I was thinking about this recently. Like we're back home, by the way. Hello, Dr. Teeth. He held down the house. He kept away all the intruders. Thank you. We gotta get you fixed for the rings. You know, when you do a podcast in front of your shower and you lean against a shower curtain, you might pop a couple rings off because you're leaning. It's just part of the you just got to put it in the budget, really, when you have your meetings at the end of the quarter. Be like, we got to get some more. You can buy those, by the way. I haven't put them on yet. What are we doing? What are we even doing if we're buying something and not using it? So that's what I'm saying. We're back home. It's really good. When I was gone, when I was on the road with my son, we were staying with my parents, I would be like, he would wake up, I would wake up. That all happened. We know that part. He wakes up, and then very rarely am I laying in bed and be like, is Jack awake yet? Come on, Jack. Come on. Let's wake up. Let's do it. No, it's always like, if I do wake up a little bit before him, because we're staying, my parents were in the same room, I'm like, I'm like, I can see like the little bit of light come through, and you know how when you sleep, and you know when you sleep, it's sleep. No, like, and you wake up, and you know that like you got some sleep, so that's good. But you're not done. You know, you're going back. I don't know if kids have that. Sometimes Jack definitely does. But like you're going, like I'm going back to sleep, but then you just know, like it's light, and that if I'm awake, he's gonna soon be like, Dad, it's morning. So when I was staying with my parents, I would try to do a thing where during the day we would try to go do something outside, active, and just to like, and I would tell myself like, well, this'll wear him out, you know? This gotta do this to wear him out, because in Chicago it's really cold out, so sometimes we couldn't like go in the backyard or whatever. Or we could, like, we played out in the snow a lot. That was really fun. But we went ice skating a couple times. That was fun. And went to this trampoline park. That was really fun. But every time I was like, all right, it was fun, but I was like, this will wear Jack out. This will tire him out. He's going to go to bed, fall asleep so easily because of this activity that I started, initiated, followed through on as a parent. Not only is this activity a bonding moment for my son and me, he doesn't even know. I'm getting him to go to sleep early tonight. That's what this is. He doesn't even know that goal, but it's there and it's clear to me, and boy is he in for one. That's what I would think. Boy is he in for it. He has no idea that this all fun thing is just a cover for me being like, I can do whatever I want for an extra hour tonight because he's already asleep. Or like, what? It's only 8 o'clock and he's already asleep. What? And every single time I thought that, and we wouldn't do that activity, I would just get really tired. And then he would just still go to bed at the same time, and I would be more tired. He's such a tricky. There were a couple times early on in the trip where when we were driving, he would fall asleep, and that I'm not against it, you know. Get the nap in when you can, because at school they take naps. You know the logistics and stuff. But like we were driving to the world of Peppa Pig, which is more like a mall playground, but it's a nice world. The world is, and the actual place is pretty good too in Schaumburg, and it's a good hour from where we live, and where my parents live, and we were driving, and he fell asleep, and I knew that he was tired, but he actually fell asleep while we were driving, and I just pulled in the parking lot, and I fell asleep too, and we didn't get to go into Peppa Pig as long. I'm not gonna wake him up early. Listen, I might do everything he says every moment of every second of his life, but when he's asleep and I get to decide, you're staying asleep, unless you have school and they've made it clear to me that we can't bring him in that late. That happened twice. We did it at the mall parking lot, and then the next day we were doing some stuff. I don't remember what we did first, but maybe I did. What am I even talking? I just went in this thing about how I was trying to wear him out and it would just wear me out. But then I have two instances of him actually falling asleep. I guess it's just not when I wanted it. Like, I want him to fall asleep early at night. And that was a water break. And he didn't. But the two times that this is out of control. What am I making points for and then arguing against myself? I don't know. That'd be like if you made a really good argument and then you were like, but actually I see the other side, and I wasn't even like noticing it until just now. But the second time was we went to Trader Joe's after doing something, and he was just crashed in the car, which probably different term, but like he was just, and so we pulled in this part, and I was super tired too. And you shouldn't drive when you're tired, but I was like, we weren't driving, but he was out, and so we just pulled in the parking lot, and I just fell asleep too. And it was car was in park, and it was so weird because we were like, I think I had shows that weekend, and so I had to get back at a specific time, and we had enough time, but it was like, at one point there was a police car and a fire truck right outside our car in the parking lot. And so I moved it to like further away in the parking lot and fell asleep again. And it was just like, I felt safe while it was there, because sometimes you're in a parking lot. But I was like, well, I locked the doors. I don't know really where that was, but it felt good. But that was the only two times during the whole break that what I said didn't apply. All the other times, he stayed up. See, it all worked out, Michael. Don't bail so soon. But yeah, today Jack, my son, I picked him up from school. We did. Me and the producer. No, I did, and I picked him up, and he needed a haircut, and I know he needed a haircut because he told me, and he's 6 now. He might not do a lot of things that I think that he could be able to do right now, or I know he can do. Like, here's one of them. I'll remember this haircut thing later. We went to the Los Angeles Rams game. Whose house? Rams house. That would be a really inside joke if I didn't complete that. If I was just like, whose house, and then just continued the story. Unless you have been to a Ram, you might, because I didn't know that's what they say. Like Jack all week is being in like, let's go Rams, or not all week, but like the day of, we were going a couple days before the game, and so. But when we got there, and they didn't do that at all. And later on, he was like, Michael, how come they didn't go, let's go Rams? And I was like, because they go, whose house? And everyone goes, Rams house. And we went to the game yesterday. It's Sunday. Today's Monday. This is episode 44 if I just got my kid to sleep. So far, really smooth episode. And what do you think, Dr. T? He looks hungrier than ever, the shark behind me. He's just like, where have you been? I need to imaginary... I don't know. What does a shark on a shower curtain eat? It's just a picture. Speaking of things that I think he should be able to do that he doesn't do, my aunt, when I was over for the holidays, took care of my son when I would go to my shows a couple of the nights because my parents were out of town. and I couldn't have any parties. No. My aunt would, and it's really fun when like an adult takes care of you that hasn't been with you every step of the way, because they'll make judgments, and sometimes they'll just work out, and you're like, that was great. You just assumed he could do that. Now he did do it. That's really good. And that didn't really work out. She gave him like a glass of milk, and it apparently just spilled everywhere, and and she was like, oh, we gotta clean it up right away because of the smell of milk. And I'm just like, well, that's the least of our worries. That smell. Anyways, in life with kids, there's messes. And but then I was like, oh yeah, he drinks the cup. He's got like for school they have like a water cup, and it comes in like a thing, like a thermos, and there's a flip thing with a straw. He's really good at straws right now. He still has like cups from when he was younger, but he's not into yet. And she's like, okay. And he's 6, so he's got to figure it out. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just drink cups with lids for the rest of your life. But that's what I was like. That's just where we are. But then we went to the Rams game, whose house, and and Jack was so happy. Like, I didn't even know he liked football, really, because I don't ever turn it on. Because when he was younger, he definitely didn't have any interest in it. And I'd turn on the TV and be like, oh, we're going to watch what he wants to watch, or video games. And I know you should do whatever you want as a parent because you're the parent, but it's like, we're going to bed, and I'm not adding any extra steps here. I can record it. That's the DVR. There's no reason. But when we're with family, like, there's a lot of people that want to watch the game, so it's on, and I think he's starting to get into it a little bit. And so we got to the game, and he had never been to a football game before, so he just had thought it was like a baseball game. He's like, Dad, when are they going to bring around the ice cream? And I was like, I think we got to go get it. And that was a big problem because he didn't want to miss anything, which I was kind of flat. Like, I was like, not flattered. What's the word for it? When you're like, I was touched. Maybe I was a little, because that's how I am. When I'm at games, I'm like, I can't miss it. And we were going into the stadium, there was food, and we got there early. And that's when I was like, do you want food? And he was like, no. And I was like, all right, that's, cheap date, right? Not that I'm dating my kid, but like, you get like, I don't know. If I were there by myself, I'm getting food, but I'm not going to make a 6-year-old wait in line to spend a lot of money on stuff. So we'll get it when we get it. And we got up there to see it, and he was getting hungry or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, we got to go get it. And he was like, all right, during halftime. And then halftime was not, we were in line and the game started, and then there's just like this is the worst part about being a parent. And it's not even that bad. But like, when my son, is this interesting? My son stuff. This is called It Just Got My Kid to Sleep, episode 44. Whose house? That didn't apply there. I don't know. This cup is not from the game, but it's the Rams game. But there's the Pepsi logo. I prefer Coke, personally. Coke just... I saw a video recently. I'm going to get back. I saw a video, because I think your phone listens to everything you say, because I've been talking a lot about Coke. Coca-Cola Classic. And it's just really found its way back into my life. I'm sort of reverting back to... So this is... just to go back to where we are. We got the haircut thing and the football game. I think that's where we are. But just to like really come clean for a couple of seconds. Today is January 6th or 7th. Now, Tuesday, January 7th. It's recorded on Monday. During my live shows, when I talk about my podcast to tell people, listen, I say that I record it anywhere between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. And this was a little closer because I fell asleep, but he also did not. I thought he was so worn out. He was so... We did get crepes, which is this is such a like a parent thing to be like we got crepes. Like that crepe, there's not a lot of sugar in crepe. He had strawberries in the crepe and powdered sugar, but that's not a lot. But then like they had chocolate covered he had chocolate covered strawberry, and then, so that chocolate, and then he also had a lollipop at the haircut plate, and then he wanted a popsicle, which I looked on the back of the box of the popsicle. It says like there's no sugar in there, but I think there's other ingredients that aren't sugar that are okay for you, but it's like that's still, he gets going and he's just off. But I don't think I'm going to buy them anymore. That's my new thing. My New Year's resolution is to I don't think that's my resolution, but I think I'm going to stop buying stuff because I think once it's in the house, I feel like bad, presenting him, like just being like, yep, that's in there. You can't have it right now or ever. But I think I'm just going to stop. Anyway, so this is January 7th, Tuesday, January 7th. And let's see, his last day of school was Wednesday, December 18th. I came back from the road Monday, December 16th, picked him up from school. He had a fever, so he didn't go to school on the 17th. So I've been his main source of parenting and care. My parents helped out when I went to Grand Rapids for 2 days. But since then, so we're looking at 3 weeks straight. And so I forget why I was saying that, but I think I'm tired. I think that's what I'm saying. I said I'm tired and my house is a mess. We had multiple holidays in that time. We talked about that, but we didn't even talk about the multiple holidays. It's been going into this time, I just felt like I really wanted some time with my son where he wasn't in school all the time, because that just really shortens the day. And after these 2.5 weeks, I'm just like, oh, I don't think I need sleep anymore. I don't think I need it. I think I'm better with it. I think sleep for me right now is kind of like, what is it like? I could probably think of it if I had more sleep. But I think it's like, I don't know, like a beverage that's healthy, like a smoothie with kale. It's like, oh, if you do it, yeah, you're gonna feel good. But you can go without it for sure. You can nap in a Trader Joe's parking lot. No, I'm just saying that I'm not judging myself too harshly for anything I'm doing right now, because I feel like that's been my main focus. But I go out of town this week. Wednesday, I'm in Sacramento, California. Look at that smooth transition to the ad that I'm paying myself for. Sacramento, California at Punch the Punchline on Wednesday, January 8th. And then Cobb's Comedy Club Thursday in San Francisco, California. And then the Arcada. I should look that up before I do these. I can. Do you want me to? Do you guys? Anyways, our Arcada Theater Lounge in Arcata, California, on Saturday, January whatever day that is, the 11th, I believe. So tell people, post if you want to. But yeah, it's just been a thing. And like my mom and dad had 3 kids, so it's different. But she stayed home with us when we were little, and so you can do it. It's possible. It's just insane. Like, my mom and dad were out of town for a little while, and so it's just me, and we'd wake up. And how do you say Arcata? I don't even know. I just looked it up. It looks really pretty, though. I should try to go to the forest. I'm going to go to the woods in my time off. I'm going to go to the woods. Population of 18,000 people. Well, we just need a couple hundred. Area code 707. Elevation 23 feet. It's not a lot of mountains. So, anyway, that's been me. And I think that I don't really know where that started, but that's what I'm coming into this with. And I'm judging myself less harshly, because I'm like, well, if I look at my day, however it goes, right? This is the benefit of being a parent. However my day goes, I feel like if I look at all the stuff I did, whether I did it well or average or below average or barely shown up, or F+, as Jack would call it, I feel like when you're being a parent, you still did a thing that wasn't for yourself, that was for the earth, for the youth, and you shouldn't feel bad. You can't feel bad about yourself, and I like that part of it. Why is Disney, ESPN, and Yahoo still listed on my computer at the top? I didn't bookmark those ever. It's 2024. But yeah, so that's the positive. It's all positive. It's very lovely. Jack, I thought would go to sleep earlier, but he didn't fall asleep, and it was like we did we read stories, and then I have sleep stories on my phone through the Calm app, and he likes one called the Slumber Taker, which is like the Undertaker wrestler, but it's like if wrestling was not wrestling, but it was like sleep, getting people to go to sleep, but they were all wrestlers competitively. I don't really follow it super well. That was water break, but it is a story. It's really, he loves it, and we listened to that. He didn't fall asleep, and then I was like, well, I didn't tell him about the podcast because, he might get excited after all that he did today, that he would want to be on it, and it would be great. But it's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep, and I just can't lie to everybody like that. So I went to go. I was like, I'm gonna go do my stuff, and he was like, okay. He didn't really say that. He was just like, okay. And then I went and did some stuff, and then he came out. He can come out of his room now. I used to have a gate. I took the gate away a while ago. Excuse me. I had to sneeze. That's what that was. That wasn't just me screaming. And yeah. So he came out of his room. I took the gate off a while ago, and he didn't notice it. I didn't tell him because, like, I don't know. It's kind of like the dog collar thing, I guess, which isn't a good comparison for your child. But I didn't tell him that the gate was off. I just took it off. He walks past it every day, and he didn't notice until he was, I think, like playing the floor is lava. But he was cheating, in my opinion, even though he's playing with himself, the game against himself. But he would like slide on the floor on a magic blanket, apparently, that doesn't burn, and he like floated over the place where the gate would be, and that's when he saw it wasn't there. And he's like, now I can go wherever I want. And today was the first time he really did. He came out of his bedroom, and this is like at 11, and he was like, Dad, I thought you needed a break, and I wanted to give you a hug. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go back in now. And I laid with him again until he fell asleep. So that was that. So we're at the football game, right? And he just the week before didn't handle drinking out of a cup very well, and then we're going down to get some food and drinks at halftime, and he really wants to not miss the game. And that's the hard part about being a parent, is like when your kid wants something, and whether you want to give it to it, like if they want something and you don't think it's something you want to give them, that's not the worst, because that actually feels pretty good. That's like, I don't know, dealing with someone drunk that wants to drive. It's like, you're not getting your keys. But there's a parenting aspect there. Like, you don't get that, and I don't want to have it. But like when they want something and you're fine with them having it and it's just not available, that's what's hard. When he's like, I want to go watch the game, but I want to get food. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's what I want too. And he's just having a breakdown. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. And we just ride out the emotion, I could say they're there, I think they're there is appropriate, but I don't try to talk them out of the emotion, I just feel like, what's the point of life if you can't really be sad about missing some of the game while you're waiting in line for food? I think that's totally fine. And I want him to ride it. I don't want him to get out of that wave. Ride that emotional wave. Be in it. It's not going to last forever. That's what I'm saying. And if you're crying in public over missing some of the game because you don't get food, then looking back, you'll be like, oh, that wasn't a bad childhood. So if they do look back, I don't know if they do. But anyways, we get up to the front line. They don't have ice cream. He's missing some of the game. We left at the end of the first half. Don't leave at the 2-minute warning. I've learned at an NFL game, because here's this advice. This is the advice of the week. It's very specific for as we're going to the NFL playoffs. This is the advice time. Remember the advice song? That's not what it was. So my advice, if you ever go to a professional football game, I don't know if it's soccer. I don't think they have 2-minute warnings in soccer. But when it gets to close to halftime and everyone starts to leave to go to the bathroom or get food or whatever, don't leave. Do not, because these are professional football players. Look at me right now. They are the best at what they do that had agents, and they know how to do what they do. And most of the game, they're managing it. They're taking risks according to what's left. But with 2 minutes left to go, there's less risk in taking your shots because there's not as much time for the other team to do stuff. And that's when you see stuff. That's when they really start taking shots, maybe. And that's when like turnovers might happen or big plays or field goals. Who's like, I missed the field goal. So we don't leave until actual halftime. And that's why we went down. And we got back like 9 minutes in the third quarter. So we missed like 6 minutes. And nothing really happened. But I didn't want to like talk them out of it. I didn't want to be like, hey, the Rams don't have the ball now. Like, whose house? Rams, but they don't have the ball. Like, I don't want to be like, you're not going to. But I feel like I was happy. I'm not happy, but better. Because I feel like when he was younger and he started to cry, I'd be like, how can I make it better? We're going to make it better. Let's make this better. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to be better now, right? Right? Please don't cry. That's a public statement on my parenting. It's not. So we get up to the front line. There's no ice cream. He's upset about that. But I'm like, I know that's the other easy part about being a parent is like there's things that aren't a big deal that you can like let into your child's life that they'll just be like thrilled. One of them for my kid is the phone, because I'm not bragging, but we don't do the phone a lot. When it was just me and him, I would go up, I'd be like, I'm going to go meditate. And then I would sleep pretty much. And he would be on my phone for an hour. Limit the screen time under 10 hours, right? No, an hour. But, so the phone's easy if he's like kind of upset or whatever. And then the other one, which I don't know, this is a good judgment time. Judge Michael. Which maybe I don't know. I know a lot of parents don't do it. I don't really do it. But on an airplane, Jack will get a Sprite because it's a small cup and they offer it and he wants it. And I think it's better for him to have a little bit of something rather than never get it and then all of a sudden have it all the time. So whatever. We're at the game and they don't have ice cream and he's like upset about that. And I was like, you know what they do have? And I was like, part of me also knew that was kind of the only option. Like he could have water for sure. But you went to this game with me and it was really fun and it's the middle of the day and I was like, they do have Sprite. And he's like, he lit up and they actually don't have Sprite. Don't tell him, okay? But they don't have Sprite. They have Pepsi products, but they don't have Sprite. They don't have Sierra Mist. They have Starry now. They have Starry. What the heck is Starry? Starry was advertised during NBA games, but like Starry just kicked out Sierra Mist and Sprite. And 7-Up's been gone for a while. Not forever gone everywhere, but so he had Starry. He thought it was Sprite. Sorry, Starry, but what did you do? Just take Sprite, change the name? What is this? What is this deal, Starry? What's going on? Tell me. How come you're smiling all the time? But anyway, I was like, they have Sprite. And we get up there and he orders it, and they don't have lids or straws. And the lady looks at me and she was like, I was like, well, he's, I said he was 5. And later on, he's like, why did you say I was 5? And I was like, well, I was trying to get you a lid. So they didn't give us a lid or a straw. And I was like, all right. So we go up to the top and I'm like, he's never drank out of a huge cup before like that. Like those stadium cups are like huge. And, he's drank out of cups sometimes that didn't have lids. Like when he was younger and he believed he would I would give him something. He's just like, oh, I can do that. And he would do it. And then he got older and he's like, he realized that he can deal with change by just not making it happen. And so I was like, I don't know. And in my head as a parent is a really good place to be because I was like, well, we're at the game. If we got to go, if he has a meltdown, we go home. It's not a big deal. That was one of the reasons we went. It was a regular season game and the game didn't matter record wise. There weren't a lot of people. There were people there, but Jimmy G was the quarterback, which he did great. Jimmy G, great job. But it wasn't like there's some of the starters were out. And when Jimmy G was a starter, I think he still can be a starter. He probably maybe will be next year in the different team. Not that he has to leave the Rams. This is not the Sports Center podcast. But that's the other advice for football. We're writing songs left and right here. The other advice for football is there might be a temptation, okay, when you look at the schedule, We're American, okay? We're NFL. NFL's pretty big here, so this isn't crazy to talk about. To look at the schedule of a team that you or a loved one loves, and see a big matchup at the end of the year with a division rival, you might feel a temptation to be like, let's get these tickets now and give them as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift. And I would just go to Macy's and get the person a shirt, because here's my advice. Here's my advice. My advice. Oh, my lips are tingling when I do that. I think it's a good way to warm up your voice. You ever do that? Oh, wow. Oh, I really felt that. Whew. I need a second. Whew. I didn't know I could do that with my mouth and pitch. I don't. I just unleashed a power. Who knows? This is more football advice that I've learned, is don't buy those like last 2 games. Definitely last week, months out, because while it could be, it'll be fun no matter what, for sure. But if you're buying from the stadium, you're probably getting a good price. If you're buying it from the actual team, do whatever you want. But you do a lot of football where I go, not to brag, but like Chicago, they sell out even when they're 4-12 or whatever. You got to buy them from a person, and if you buy them further out you go, the more expensive they are. So you might think, oh, this is such a great matchup, I should get these tickets now. And they might be. You might win that way, because it might end up being a division rivalry game that decides the playoffs, like the Vikings-Lions did. Or one time I went to a Bears-Packers game where like the winner was winning the division in the playoffs, the loser was out. And that could be well worth the investment. I just did it again, where I was saying a thing, and then I just said that thing was not valid. But no, this is my advice. I would wait, because you might buy that game and then it might mean nothing the last week of the year. It might mean nothing. And it's still fun. It'll be fun, but you might pay too much for it, and it might not have that kind of like pop that you want as a present, because that's like, it's going to be expensive no matter what. And so you want to see the eyes light up or whatever. So I would always go for a middle of the season game, because that's your best bet. That's your advice. Anyway, I knew we could leave if he had a meltdown about the Sprite not being able to drink it the way he wanted to drink it with a lid. And then we go to bed early, and I was so tired that like if he didn't fall asleep, then I would fall asleep. That's the best way I found to be a dad, is like live my day so that when I want to put him to bed, he can do whatever he wants, but I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to get as much sleep in while he like lays there and figures stuff out. And that's where I was, because I was pretty tired yesterday too. But he didn't. This is the story about the cup. There was no lid on that cup. I've only seen him drink a beverage without a lid, like maybe once or twice before that. And this was a stadium-sized cup. Like, if you're not watching the video, I don't know why I'm rubbing it in your face, but like it's a huge, and it's like ice and Sprite. Starry, don't tell him. But and he held it with 2 hands, and I watched it. We were at the top row. He wants to sit at the top. And there's nobody up there. He's not gonna spill anybody. So I just watched him, and I was there. I was spotting him, and he would like lift it up, take a drink, and then bring it down a little bit, like whose house, Rams, and then lift it up and put it down. And he only drank like some of it, but he didn't spill any of it. I was like, oh, that's how you teach your kids something. You get milk, that thing is spilled in a second. Anyway, I thought that would be interesting. Yeah. So we went to the game. It was very fun. He's so excited to like scream, but also follow the rules like at a football game. And I'm not doing the Vice song anymore, because I feel like people like it. But it's not really advice. You kind of know it already. But when you're at a football game, it's a home game. You make a lot of noise when your defense is on the field and not when your offense is on the field. And he kind of learned that right away, and he would just be like really quiet. I was like, 'cause that's when the guys are talking to each other. And then when the defense was on the field, he would just start screaming. And for a kid, like when you hear adults scream at a football game, there's like I'm not going to do it loud because, it's so late. But like, and it kind of all meshes together into like this one loud, we're making noise, so the other team has trouble calling their plays. But like when a little kid does it, it's just like, it's not like that high pitched, but it's definitely a kid. And what I loved about it was there's a lot of like non-kids around us, and they would look back, not in a disgusted way, but like just what is that? And then they would just see that, and they would just smile. Like so many people lit up, and I loved being in a place where this is the best part about bringing your kid to a football game, is like when he like was screaming, it was like the other people that weren't screaming were the ones that were wrong, and that was my favorite part. Not my favorite part. There were a couple big touchdowns, but like a really cool part about taking my son to the Rams game, whose house, and it's like normally there's this sense as a parent, like I don't want to like. There's a day going on. Maybe it's a weekend. People are having a good time. Even if you're outside at the park, you don't want to. But like at the game, he's screaming. It's like, yeah, the big screen is telling us to scream, everybody. And then people would there were a couple times where, at least once, I should say one, there was once where he started a thing, like a cheer, like a thing, and then everyone else went into it. And it was like, there was one time where I think he was the one that started it, and that felt pretty good to him, I think. so yeah. That was it. And the Rams, he was very honest. I was like, did you have fun? He's like, yeah, but I would have more fun if the Rams won. And they didn't win. And he wants to go to the Super Bowl if I have enough money. And so, but I don't think that's going to happen. But maybe someday. It's good to go. I don't think he knows really what a Super Bowl is. But he kind of does at the same time. But that was that. And I feel like with that story, it's like, what are you even going to talk about afterwards? How are we going to transition into something else? There was something we were talking about. Oh, his haircut. Was that what it was? His haircut? I don't remember anything interesting. We went to the beach on Saturday. I know, look at me. Football game and a beach. And he did sand angels, which was we did snow angels in the snow, and we got to go to the beach and do sand angels within a week or two, which was really fun. And this is when it happened, I was like, I think the podcast is going to be named that this week. And now I'm like, oh, it's almost not over, but we're you're probably not even aware of where we're at because you're so involved in like that football story that maybe I didn't even really wrap up. But like, I'm like, oh, there's not a lot of time. There's no one's calling it. There's no budget for time. Anyway, we go to the beach and, well, here's how, man, this is a whole thing. So we're supposed to come home New Year's Day because he starts school on the 2nd, and he's got a fever. And never more have I been like, oh, thank you. Because like I didn't want to fly on New Year's Day. I drove back from my show on New Year's Eve in Mahomet, Illinois, Yellow & Co. If you're ever there in Mahomet, Illinois, near Champaign, check it out. It's a really cool gift store. It's a really cool store with a lot of gifts in it and gifts. And then they have a great stage for music and live stand-up. And the people there are the best, and I have a great time. And I'm really, all my shows over the holidays at Zany's in Chicago downtown was really fun, and Grand Rapids, Michigan at Dr. Grins was really fun. And I had a really fun time at Dr. Grins because I got to work with my friends Brian Hicks and Garrett Elzinga. And Garrett is the house MC in Grand Rapids, which is not the easiest job in the world because usually when you start out in comedy, you host. That's what but at some clubs, they have a house one, so you just do it every week. And so you're performing in front of sometimes the same people every week. So you constantly are rotating material and doing a good job. And he's also, you're kind of running the show, and there's always like a guest spot, it seemed like. And Garrett, it's Garrett's job to light the person to get him off stage, which means like you hold up a light in the back. And there's a moment where he was holding the light up, and it was very dignified. It was like a very dignified, and I got a really good picture. You can check out on his Instagram of him. Anyway, Garrett Elzinga, Gerrit, maybe second T, Elzinga. Anyway, so we get to stay home on New Year's Day, which is fantastic. Even though he had a fever, not fantastic, but I was like, oh, thank you. So then the 2nd we fly back, and we come in on the 2nd. And here's the thing I don't know about being a dad, but I don't know. I don't think you should like model your life after a Jim Carrey movie, but like Yes Man was pretty positive, and I hate to like shoot down ideas from a kid because I didn't think of them, and and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're kind of crazy. But like, so we're in the sky or whatever, and we're talking about Christmas, and this was like the first year I feel like Jack really put together what Santa was and all that. And so we're flying, and I didn't know that we weren't going to be in Los Angeles for Christmas at first because of certain logistics. So I had ordered some things that didn't go to Chicago. So I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I'll leave them in my closet, and then we'd figure it out. But he was like, well, and he helped me put up the tree in Los Angeles and the stockings. I remember when he was doing it, he's like, oh, Santa's really going to like this. And I didn't want to be like, oh, Santa's not coming here. He's going to Chicago. But we're in the air, and he's like, oh, I think Santa might have come, and we might not even know. And which is like, I don't know if he really believed that or if he was just like, maybe there's just another way to get more presents if I just say it. But I knew that I had a toy from eBay that was really fun that I wanted to give him still, and I wanted it to be from Santa. And so I was like, oh yeah, and maybe I should talk quieter. He might wake up. But so now we land, and I'm like, well, I don't think Santa comes unless we're there at night, because that's just when he wouldn't know we're there. So he's like, okay. So then we go to bed that night, and he thinks Santa might come again. And I'm just like, you ever land and like have suitcases and luggage? Like we had 3 checked suitcases, a lot with presents already. Like we don't need more stuff, and stuff to unpack, and then be like, oh, now I gotta do this again. And usually it's always fun on Christmas Eve. It's always been fun, but this one was just like, I just did it. It felt like a little Groundhog Day-ish. And I did it, and I'm like, I don't think I'm ever do that again. But I said that because I had like some things in my closet that I just had never given him, and I was like, well, this is what we're doing. And I found a rake, like a toy rake, and he's been talking a lot about treasure recently, and he wants to find treasure, and so I put that under the tree with some other stuff, and he opened it, and some of these, you give someone a present that you think of recently, it kind of makes sense. Like that's who they are. That's what they encompass. Like they feel it, you feel it. And then there's some that you find in your closet after a year or two, and you kind of have to explain it as if it makes sense that they get it now. And I was like, oh, that's good for digging up treasure. And he was like, oh yeah. So he was like, the next day he was like, yeah, we should go to the beach on Saturday to find some buried treasure. And I was like, well, that's, in my head I was like, I don't know though, I was like, in my head I was like, that's not gonna happen, but I was like, well, it could, I want to go to the beach. That's my main thing. I like going to the beach, and it was pretty nice. And if he thinks we're gonna get treasure, that's great. We're gonna dig a hole, whatever. So we get there, and I haven't shot down this idea at all. And it's Saturday. It's the best day ever to go to the beach because it's like January. Not many people are there. Easy to park, easy to get there and go home. And we find a spot, and he's like, well, this is where the treasure is going to be. And I was like, all right. And he's not playing around. Like this is in his mind really going to happen. And it's like when I got him a big wheel, and he's like, I'm going to ride my big wheel to the zoo, which is like a 10-minute drive. And I was like, all right, my head been like, he'll get exercise, and so we start digging, and he has a shovel too. He's got a shovel. It's like a toy shovel. I came with the rake. I gave him the shovel. I didn't give him the rake until this Christmas. And we're digging. I thought he would do the digging, but eventually he's like, Dad, can you dig? So we're digging. I'm digging. He's raking. We're raking. And it gets to the point where I'm Googling, like, is this legal? Because it's a good sized. And the thing on the internet said, well, if it goes like above someone's knees, that could be not legal at a beach or whatever. So we're digging, and then eventually we like start moving towards the water, and it's not super cold and it's really fun. So we start getting in the water a little bit, but I didn't know we were getting in the water. So we just have like our clothes on, and I have like a thing for him, like a floaty or whatever on him just in case. But I didn't know it'd be nice enough. So we're over there, and he has a shovel, and he likes to shovel the sand into the ocean. And then the waves are coming, and I'm with him, and there's lifeguards, but the wave comes, and I pick him up because I don't want him to get hit by the wave, and he drops the shovel, or who he calls Shovelly. This isn't the one he got for Christmas. It was actually on our balcony for a long time, and it smelled a little bit when I brought it in, and I was like, I don't know, we might, I was like, I'm gonna have to clean this, but I tried and it wasn't working, and I'm not saying I'm happy it's gone, but he's like, that's shovelly, you know. He has a name for him, and I see it go out into the ocean. But this is the ocean. I'm not just going out to the ocean with leave my kid to go get this shovel, and I think it might come back, but then it's just gone, and it's gone. Like, and he is so, not to be a sad guy, but he is so like, he gets over it, but he's like, that was shovelly, and then later on, like, something came up in a story or something about if you have a kid and you miss your kid, and he's like, that's how I feel about shovelly. And he just couldn't, he felt like it was a real thing that that is now dead in the ocean because he let go of it, which I blame animated programs that make things real, because listen, as a parent, it's a challenge enough to like take care of a child. But now I gotta like watch out for the inanimate objects that he suddenly has a connection with, that he used 1 or 2 times at the beach. Like, he's used it 2 times at the beach. The shovel, like, now I gotta like, I have the whole family of objects I have to watch out for. Like, get out. So, and it was gone. It was going. I went out a little, like we walked, but it was just gone. And that was what I thought the podcast would be about today. R.I.P. Shovelly. And I don't know if it will be. I don't know why that all these moments kind of end up with him being sad and disappointed. I think it's because kids are, and this is me talking myself into the fact that I'm a good parent, that kids are generally, or at least Jack is very happy, go lucky, and they find so much joy in all the stuff that when they don't, I remember it because I don't want it to happen again. I think that, but it just kept happening because there was the moment. There's just moment, and maybe it's because he's sleep deprived, because I could be better at that. Where he wants a thing that he can't have, and there's other options. I don't know. Does that make sense? R.I.P. Shovelly. That's, for some reason when it happened, I was like, oh, that's gonna not be sad. But anyway, we recovered. Not the shovel. Shovelly is gone. If you're out there, Shovelly, if someone else finds Shovelly, please enjoy. He's a great shovel. And he's light blue. He's plastic. I feel bad about littering the ocean. But we went back. We dug a little more. He made sand angels. There's a playground at the beach that we went to. And he met some friends, and they played hide and seek. We played a lot of hide and seek. I was the dad, so we went to this playground, and I was playing hide and seek with Jack. Whenever like Jack was playing on the playground, it was great. And then whenever he's like, want to play hide and seek, I'm like, oh, this is almost over. You know, I'm like, if we're at a playground with like slides and things to climb on, and he's like, let's play hide and seek, I'm like, we're gonna go home soon. You know, like, if you can't just enjoy this for what it is, why do we need to bring hiding and seeking? Also, I probably shouldn't be closing my eyes in public while you're around strangers. So there's that. He's like, let's play hide and seek. I'm like, all right. So I like look away, and I always have to cheat, and I feel bad, but I'm like, also I'm doing my job. Like, I can't let you just go without me seeing you. And then some other kids start playing, but they don't change the rules at all. It's still like, oh, dad's going to come find us. But it's like other kids and my son, and they're hiding not very well. And it is fun for me because I get to go right by where they are. One of my favorite things to do at hide and seek with his age right now is to go right where they are and look everywhere except right at them. And then just be like, where are they? That's like my favorite part about hide and seek as a dad and in the park, is because I know as a kid, when you're hiding and someone can't find you, there is great joy. One time when I was a kid in Wabash, Indiana, we used to live rented a house on Maple Street, and there were like tons of kids that we would just all play. Probably like 7, but it seemed like the whole city. And we would play Manhunt, which seems kind of graphic for a kid, but my dad used to play it as a kid. You basically just like, it's like hide and seek, but like a whole block or whatever. And we were, one time I was hiding in these like bushes in front of a church, which I don't know if that's legal, but it was like a tree, and we were hiding there really well. and I think it was actually in front of someone's house, and the people were just walking by us, and we could hear them, and they couldn't find us, and there was this joy, and then I sneezed and ruined it. But to hide somewhere and have someone not see you is the best. So there was that. And I love giving kids that. You know, they got smart after like the 5th or 6th game. We played so many. They would like go hide somewhere, and then I'd go look somewhere else. And then when I went to move towards they would run to the place I just was. And then when I finally was like, I give up. They would be like, I'd be like, you already checked there. And like, we ran there when you were looking over here. And it was so fun. The parents of the other kids were just like talking and having a good time. They're like, thank you, which I get it. You know, we don't need all the parents playing, but yeah, that was R.I.P. Shovelly. There's another thing where Jack got sad about, but I'm not going to bring it up. Maybe it'll be next week. He was happy about a lot of stuff too. What I really loved is, I forget what we did, but when one of these 3 days in these 3 weeks, we did a thing, and I was like, Jack, did you have a good day? And he was like, no. I was like, oh, he's like, I had a great day. And I'm like, who are you? Who came out? Who taught you that? And it was just such a fun time. Anytime someone asked him if he was having a good time, he's like, no, I'm having a great time. And he said it so truthfully that I really liked it. And I appreciated it. But yeah, it's all coming to a close. You know, I think when I go on the road and I'm not around my son, I look back and I'm like, I would much rather be tired doing a podcast at 1 a.m, starting it at 1, and knowing that like he's gonna wake up and I'm eating dinner and my house is a mess. Like I would much rather have those moments than be in a hotel room on the road. But you know, I think every parent probably doesn't necessarily want to go to work. But also we do, you know, because I'm sure once I get sleep again, I'll be like, that's what you were, sleep. I see you, sleep. Thank you for being here. But it's been a time, and I think I'll look back on it, and with great, we did a lot, which I think I'm realizing we don't need to anymore. I've kind of trained him into doing a lot, and I don't think we needed to do the football game. And I know you were thinking that you go to the beach and the football game. It was just perfect timing, you know, because the tickets were really cheap because the game didn't matter, and he chose to go to the beach. So it's way easier for me to get Jack to go to the beach when he already wants to go. And so when he wants to go, I'm like, well, we're going because I love the ocean, you know, and the beach, and yeah. So that's the episode now. I thought we had a good title. It's not going to be that. Maybe it will be. I really appreciate everybody hanging with me through these 3 weeks. On social media, you'll see a little more reels, I think, coming up now that we're in the new year. And we'll just watch it grow. But I'm going to start doing my email list again. If you want to subscribe, that's like a podcast that you read. And that's at michaelpalasek.com, MichaelPalasck.com. There's a little thing you can fill out and get an email, I think, once every 2 weeks. Bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. We'll just say that. All the best to everybody out there. It's still Christmas season. I'm Catholic. I love you. Thank you. Good night. Or good morning. God,